Hamilton, the Unsolved Case by Gabriela Campos. What could have led to the destruction of a family? The shakeup of an entire city over the collapse of an American industry. It is a crime to mum or even utter a single word of the case, but I plan on discovering what went wrong in the lives of the Woodsons. How could the successful and talented Hamilton become a murderer to those around him? Could he have been saved from his madness? These questions still lie unanswered. In the city of New York, everyone is a suspect. People will do anything to get their hands on power, as if they didn't have enough. The desire for money is what fuels the engine of every functioning machine that you pass by on the streets. The emptiness of people's lives is evident. It is nothing but pathetic and disappointing. How could people live in their world and nothing else matter to them? I know where I must go first, to the Berland. A reliable source hinted that I talked to the workers who were friends of Hamilton Woodson. They say he went nuts after he saw the ghost of his father, and he was unrecognizable ever since. Supposedly he had one purpose, to avenge. But who and why? Could it have been the love he had for Odette that drove Hamilton to his insanity? After discussing with old friends of Odette, it is assured to me that the relationship of Hamilton and Odette was not a prosperous one. Hamilton's careless ways led to the constant fights and bickering. In the files, there appears a ticket of the theater production of Julius Caesar. Those close to Hamilton state that this was the way for him to discover if Clayton, his uncle, killed his father. In the mind of Hamilton, to watch death and be affected by it is to be a murderer. It is noted that Clayton was uneasy in his seat and leaves the theater with Hamilton following behind him. Passers-by say they saw an old man sitting at the steps of a church, and a young man who was watching him from a distance soon disappears. This event leaves me perplexed. I am at a standstill. I visit the company managed by the Woodsons to find clues. The American Union Bank is at the throne of the New York City industry. It has maintained a steady growing rate and is now one of the leading banks in the United States. I make my way in to get the load on the former CEO, Clayton Woodson, Hamilton's uncle. It is believed that he wanted Hamilton out of the lives of the Woodsons and the company. Genevieve, Hamilton's mother, had no voice in it all. After going back to the files, I noticed that Odette's father, Patterson Davis's death, is the first. A single gunshot to the head is what the autopsy states. The report claims that Hamilton Woodson used self-defense and the case was never brought to court because little to no evidence was discovered. The next sheet that draws my attention is the autopsy of Odette, who jumped off a New York City bridge and drowned to death. The suicide was days after the death of her father. I believe the two are strongly linked. The only son of Patterson Davis is Larkin, and after reading his traveling records, the bulb in my brain lights up. After word got out in Europe of the deaths of Patterson and Odette Davis, Larkin took the next flight to New York. Larkin is enraged and in search of Hamilton for revenge. He devised a plan with Clayton that would benefit both of them, to be gone of Hamilton once and for all. On the night of October 1st, 1990, a bow and arrow match was set up in the garden of the Woodrows for Hamilton and Larkin. The sporting event was supposedly a good old-fashioned competition between two men. Clayton did not hesitate to set his trap. A snake is let loose in the rose bushes and Genevieve gets bitten. Its poison kills her instantly. Once she is down, Hamilton realizes it was all a plan to kill him. Then suddenly Hamilton strikes at Larkin, who reveals Clayton's plan. Although he is wounded, Hamilton manages to kill his uncle, set the Woodson mansion on fire, and await his own death. The act of revenge resulted in the continuous bloodshed and left the city of New York paralyzed. The Woodsons have made their mark, and their tragic story will forever be told. The mystery is solved and nothing remains. Case closed.